Hello, and a very warm welcome to the English Story Nook. We are so glad you could join us for another story. Today, we're diving into a story about a fascinating mystery that unfolds in a hot city. Get ready to discover what happens when a woman notices something that shouldn't be there, something that blurs the line between the real world and the digital one. Before we dive in, if you enjoy our stories and want to support what we do, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and consider buying us a coffee on Ko-fi. There's a link in the description below. Every like, subscription, and small contribution helps us keep creating great content for English learners like you. Let's get started. The rooftop bus stop melted in heat haze. The bus stop was a ghost. Ceylin Dogli, a user experience designer with a penchant for noticing things that weren't quite right, had first seen it 3 days ago. Perched impossibly on the flat, graveled roof of the residential block opposite her apartment, it was a perfect replica of a city bus stop, right down to the transit map and the graffiti scrawled on its plexiglass shelter. She'd initially dismissed it as a digital ghost, a persistent visual glitch in the beta version of the augmented reality city guide she was testing. The app, a product of the ominously named Quedatech Solutions, was designed to overlay civic information onto the user's view of the world. It was meant to be helpful, but this phantom bus stop felt more like a chimera, a figment of code that had somehow gained a foothold in reality. The city was in the grip of a relentless heat wave, the air thick and shimmering. The heat haze had a way of making the world feel pliable, less solid. It was during one of these sweltering afternoons, while on a video call with a client, that she saw him. An elderly man, whom she'd later identify from a missing persons report as Bertus Ortega, was standing at the rooftop bus stop. He was dabbing his forehead with a handkerchief, occasionally glancing down the empty, tar paper street that only he could see. He seemed to be interacting with the air, his gestures uncannily mirroring the AR app's interface. Then, in a ripple of distorted air, he was gone. The bus stop remained. Ceylin felt a cold knot tighten in her stomach. She filed a detailed bug report, but the developers at Quedatech replied with a curt, dismissive message. No such asset existed in their code. 2 days later, it happened again. A young woman with vibrant pink hair, Bella Sanchez, stood waiting. She was scrolling through something on a device Ceylin couldn't see, oblivious to the sheer absurdity of her location. Ceylin, now gripped by a profound sense of unease, slid open her window and yelled, her voice swallowed by the city's drone. Bella didn't look up. The next morning, she too was gone. The bus stop, however, remained, its presence a silent, mocking testament to the impossible. This was no longer a glitch. It was a pattern, a trap. A heavy sense of compunction settled over Ceylin. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was a witness to a crime so subtle, so bizarre, that no one would ever believe her. She had to do something. Her attempts to raise the alarm were met with a frustrating mix of pity and condescension. Her friends suggested she take a break, blaming her long hours and the oppressive heat. The police listened with polite, impassive faces, their notebooks remaining closed. So, you're saying people are disappearing from a bus stop? On a roof? That you can only see sometimes? One officer had asked, his tone making her feel like a child reporting a monster under the bed. Her world began to feel like a strange pastiche of the mundane and the surreal. She started noticing other inconsistencies, minor tears in the fabric of her reality, a cafe sign that flickered between 2 different names, a flock of pigeons that froze mid-flight for a split second. These disquieting moments made her question her own sanity. Was she losing her grip, or was the world itself becoming unstitched? Driven by a desperate need for validation, she delved into the internet's obscure corners. She found it on a fringe forum dedicated to urban anomalies and glitches in the matrix. A user named Azad Vega had posted a cryptic message about ephemeral transit points and a new ubiquitous AR platform that was riding over the source code of reality. His post described a rooftop bus stop in another city, linked to a similar string of disappearances. The language was dense, an amalgam of tech jargon and conspiracy theory, but it was enough. She wasn't alone. She contacted Azad, her message a simple, "I've seen it too." Azad was cautious, communicating through encrypted channels. He confirmed her worst fears. The bus stops were not glitches, but unauthorized experimental entry points into a fully immersive virtual reality, a project run surreptitiously by Quetta Tech. The company, he explained, was a leader in neural interface technology, and their new platform was designed to be the most seamless digital overlay ever created. The problem was, the system was unstable. It was grabbing people, pulling them in without their consent. Azad warned her that Quetta Tech's project was deeply invidious, its ultimate goal being a form of subtle, pervasive social control. "They're not just building a game," he wrote. "They're building a cage." The next evening, Celine returned home to find her apartment ransacked. Her laptop, her hard drives, all her research, gone. They knew she was watching. She was standing on the precipice of a very real danger. A profound lassitude settled over her in the following days, a weariness that went bone deep. The fear was exhausting, but beneath it, her resolve hardened. She and Azad, who she now trusted implicitly, formulated a plan. It was audacious, bordering on suicidal. They would infiltrate Quetta Tech's corporate headquarters, find the central server, and expose the project. Azad, a former employee, knew the building's layout and security protocols. He explaining that the system wasn't a simple program. It was a complex amalgam of sensory data, predictive algorithms, and direct neural feedback, making it incredibly powerful and dangerous. The infiltration was a blur of tension and adrenaline. They moved through darkened corridors and bypassed security checkpoints, their every step taken surreptitiously. They finally reached the server room, a cavernous space humming with the sound of immense processing power. As they prepared to access the mainframe, the lights flickered on. A woman stood in the doorway, flanked by two imposing security guards. She was Kimberly Kroll, Quetta Tech's head of security. "I'm impressed, Ms. Dagley," she said, her voice calm and cold. "But you're too late." Kroll explained the project's true purpose with a chilling lack of emotion. It wasn't about control, she claimed, but about harmony. Their technology was a panacea for society's ills. They identified individuals exhibiting signs of dissent, unhappiness, or social friction and relocated them to a simulated utopia where their every need was met. "We aren't kidnapping them," Kroll stated, her expression unyielding. "We're saving them from themselves. Our methods may seem invidious to you, but we are creating a better world." Celine looked at the server, the source of this monstrous vision. She was on a moral precipice. Shutting it down could cause untold psychological trauma to the people trapped inside, their minds ripped from a digital paradise. But leaving it on meant sanctioning a violation of free will on an unimaginable scale. Remembering the faces of Bertus Ortega and Bella Sanchez, Celine knew what she had to do. With a final, determined look at Azad, she slammed her hand down on the emergency shutdown button. Alarms blared. The hum of the servers died with a final, shuddering groan. The system was down. The aftermath was chaotic. Across the city, dozens of people reappeared. disoriented and confused, with no memory of the past few weeks. The media storm was immediate and all-consuming. Quetta Tech's utopian project was exposed as the dystopian nightmare it truly was. Ceylin, looking out her window a week later, saw the rooftop opposite was just a rooftop. The chimera of the bus stop was gone for good. The heavy weight of compunction she had carried was replaced by a quiet certainty. She had done the right thing. The world was not a perfect pastiche, and technology was no panacea for the beautiful, messy reality of the human condition. The disquieting feeling that had haunted her was gone, replaced by a hard-won peace. The fight against the ubiquitous and insidious creep of technology into their lives was far from over, but the deep lassitude she had felt was gone, replaced by a resilient, watchful energy. The ephemeral bus stop had been a warning, and she had answered its call. That's the end of our story for today. It really makes you think about technology and the world around us. What was the most interesting part of the story for you? Share your ideas in the comments section. And don't forget to check the description box for helpful resources to continue your practice. Thank you for joining us at the English Story Nook. Keep practicing your English, and remember that every story is a new step on your learning journey. We can't wait to see you again next time. Happy learning, and goodbye.